Hello everyone. So we're back today with something a little different, but something I've been wanting to do for a while now. I've always talked about the Heaven Burns Red Weiss Schwarz set on stream, mainly because it's one of the decks I play, only for WGP. But I did want to talk about it. My hope is that we will be getting the set in English someday. I have been speaking to my friends at my locals, the guys at my locals, and they're always telling me, well, we don't think that's possible, we don't think it's coming because it is an older set with an older set ratio. But for me, if a set hasn't passed 3.5 years between the Japanese and English release, it's still up for grabs. At least that's how I feel. Mainly because of the time gap between Revue Starlight. There was around a 3.5-year gap between the English release and the Japanese release. So that is the reason why I'm still holding out hope that we're going to get this set in English. It also happens that Bushiroad is doing one of their conferences next week, so I'm going to be up. I'm going to be staying up and watching the conference. But yes, I thought I would talk about the Heaven Burns Red Weiss Schwarz set and talk about how the cards actually have a lot of flavor. I'm not sure what the actual word is for it, but at my locals we just call it, oh, the card has a lot of flavor. So that's the situation here. But we're going to be going through some of the cards. And specifically, I'm really happy. I also wanted to do this stream because I got my hands on the SP Bungos that I've been like eyeing for a while. So that's Smudge is here. So I will be doing a comparison for the regular Bungos and the SP Bungos first of all. And if anything, we'll start with these since, you know, Bungo's my best girl. But if anything, of the two Bungo SPs I have, the more interesting card is this one. This card isn't as interesting. So in Weiss Schwarz, we have something known as climax combos. They're identified by, if you guys can see, they're identified by the little red box here. Older cards don't have this little red box, but this is what's known as a CX combo. So what happens is when your climax, aka this horizontal card, is played in the climax zone, certain skills activate. Or the card checks if there's a climax in the climax zone, and then certain skills activate. So that is how CX combos work, I guess, in the long and short of it. There's a lot of like other things. There are skills that remove the CX combo and send it to your waiting room, aka your graveyard, for another skill to happen, or CX skills that activate like towards the end of turn. But basically, if there's a CX around something, if there's a CX around, a climax around, and there's a card with a CX combo box, or it says CX combo on it, something is gonna happen. Something's gonna happen. So basically, I'll be going over some of the cool cards and CX combos that are in the game, and how they relate to the characters. So if anything, we'll start off with this. So this is the level 3 Bungo from set 1. This is the regular version. Let's see if I can get it to focus properly. Okay, here we go. So this is the regular Bungo from set 1, and this is the SP Bungo from the same set. So difference is we have the signature of Bungo's voice actress on here. And it basically looks just slightly zoomed out. That's the case with a lot of cards, that the card is just like slightly zoomed out or zoomed in between different versions. And this Bungo's climax combo goes with this card. Okay. So if any of you guys are curious about where to look up the translations, WGP, aka the World Grand Prix for Weiss Schwarz, is held like all over the world, and there is qualifiers in America, and the tournaments are organized by Heart of the Cards. So you can go to heartofthecards.com and look up the translations on there. I believe they have a translation sheet. I think that's what you click. I do have it pulled open here just so I don't make a mistake when I talk about this card. And on the bottom here, Bungo's number is number 11. So what happens with Bungo, if I remember correctly, because I was reading it, you actually have a chance for your skill not to activate because she checks the top card of your deck. So Bungo in Heaven Burns Red, the game, when she attacks, she has a chance of missing. So it's the same thing that happens here. So if you have 2 or more other Seraph characters, this gains plus 1000 power. When this is placed from hand to stage, you may put the top card of your clock into waiting room. So in Weiss Schwarz, this is probably a bad example. Actually, let me take out my deck. In Weiss Schwarz, how you take damage is you take the top card of your deck and it goes into your clock zone. That would be a cancel. But basically what happens is that you take damage, and this is how the game works. So when Bungo is placed onto the board, you take the top card of your clock and it gets sent to the waiting room. So that means you heal. You take 1 damage you take is removed or negated. But Bungo's climax combo is that when she attacks, so let's pretend, I don't think you'd ever have 3 on the board. Bungo's actually not really played as a card, but what happens is that you enter climax phase, you put the climax combo here. And then what happens is, when this attacks, so to declare attack in Weiss Schwarz, you turn the card sideways. When Bungo attacks, if Yakiniku as reward is in the climax zone, which is this card, you reveal the top card of your deck, or library is the official term for it. If it is a Seraph character, then you deal 4 damage to your opponent. However, let's say it is instead this. That is not a Seraph character. That means Bungo's skill just does not go off. So I think it's really funny and it's very flavorful. It's basically the Bungo initial SS card in real life. The Bungo SS card in game has a chance to miss. This card also has a chance to miss. So I think that's probably why this Bungo isn't played that often. If anybody's wondering about prices, most Weiss Schwarz SPs are kind of expensive. This was not on the expensive side, probably because this card doesn't guarantee damage. Is probably how I would word it. But yeah, this is super duper cute. I have not built a Bungo deck. I do think this card is a little strange to play around with, but can stable watch the ball, learn how to play. Thank you so much. I'm not really talking about how to play, I'm just talking about how the cards like match with like the cards in game. But yeah, thank you so much for stopping by and happy Halloween. I hope nobody rings my doorbell while I'm streaming because I'm gonna have to get up and give them candy. Hiya, I'm doing good. I'm just blabbering about Weiss Schwarz cards. But yeah, so Bungo SPs have been obtained. I'm basically just going over, I probably should actually go over the climax combos that are actually in my deck first, but I did want to talk about Bungo first since she is my best girl. But yeah, I'm talking about, because I play Heaven Burns Red, the game, like the actual mobile gacha PC. It's on PC, it's on mobile. I actually play the Heaven Burns Red game, so I was talking about how the flavor for certain cards match up to the in-game counterpart. So that is Bungo. And Bungo attacks, if Yakiniku as a reward is in climax zone, you reveal the top card of your deck, and if it's a Seraph character, you deal 4. However, if it is something else, if it is an event or if it's a climax, for example, Bungo declares attack, reveals the top, and is not a character, then she does not deal 4 damage. Bungo in the actual game has a chance to miss when you use her EX skill. So this Bungo card is basically exactly the same as the game. Though you do have a lesser chance of missing here than in the actual game because there's only 8 climaxes in the game and you have a chance of, you know, compressing your deck and stuff. But yeah, really, really cute card. Bungo best girl. I wasn't actually gonna get 2 copies. I was gonna just get 1, but the store had 2 in stock, so I thought I might as well just grab it. But yeah, I was actually hunting for this card when I was attending BSF. mainly because it was announced that Bungo's voice actress was retiring based off what I saw on Twitter. So I was like, oh drat, I better go grab those foils. I didn't have much luck finding them at regional, so I just ordered them online. But yes, Bungo is my best girl, and her climax combo is Yakiniku as a reward. This is from chapter 1 of the story, if I remember correctly. So perfect fit for the initial SS Bungo. And then the second card I picked up was this. So this is Happy Legion Bungo. So this is the initial or lowest rarity it comes as. So this is the rare rarity, and then this is the SP rarity. Once again with the signature. And as you guys can see, there is no red box on this card. Yeah. I did see some stuff, but Heaven Burns Red is a very niche set in the first place. And like all the girls in the series come SP, so the chance of me hitting it is really, really low. As you guys can see, this Bungo has no red box, which means she does not have a climax combo to go with her, aka she doesn't have a horizontal card that goes with her. I don't think this Bungo is very flavorful, to be honest. So this Bungo is one of the cards that gets power if you have 2 or less cards on the board, or 2 or less cards in stock. So I believe it's most people don't play these anymore. I call it Tokyo Teddy Bear. So if you have 2 or less cards in stock, it gets plus 15. That's the first skill. So hard with this camera. And Gotcha set SPs where everyone... Yeah, I guess that's true. If anything, that kind of fits in with how the game actually works. You gotcha for characters. You gotcha for characters in the game, and you gotcha for SPs in real life. I guess that fits. So yeah, I believe most people call them Tokyo Teddy Bears when the card gets power if there's 2 or less cards in stock. And this Bungo is not a runner. It has something what people call force. So basically what happens is at the start of your opponent's attack phase. So how a Weiss Schwarz board works is like this. Let me get 2 cards randomly on the board. Oh, this is gonna be so weird. Please do not mind my board looking strange. We'll go like this. I want to put 2 zeros on the board. So how Weiss Schwarz works is that you'll have 3 units in the front and 2 units in the back. And what happens is, let's just pretend this is how this works. Okay? So your Bungo is facing Ruka. It's the beginning of my opponent's attack phase. I can choose a character from my opponent's front row. For example, I'll choose the Ruka and move it here. So that's what this Bungo does. I don't think this is too flavorful in real life. The Bungo's EX skill in game is just that if it's her first time using her EX skill, she deals extra damage. So I don't know how this correlates to this Bungo. It doesn't make sense to me. But this is my go-to Bungo. This is the Bungo I use the most when I actually play the game, so I just had to get it. But yeah, in general, this Bungo is kind of iffy. I think there are better cards. Basically what happens if you play Weiss Schwarz, if your opponent's front board is completely full, this Bungo basically, her second skill is basically useless. Because for this skill to activate, your opponent at least has to have 1 space on the board empty. So your opponent declares attack, I select Ruka, and I can't move it to any empty slot in the front row because the entire front row is full. But if it's like this, I select Ruka and can move Ruka to an empty spot. Does she have a chance to miss? No, not for this Bungo. This Bungo doesn't miss. If anything, that might be... if anything, that's the flavor on this card. This doesn't miss. This Bungo, however, does miss. This Bungo will miss, though. Well, has a chance of missing. If anything, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. This Bungo will never miss, but this Bungo will miss. Using force to move, yeah. Yeah, force is kind of weird. Most people run runners. I don't know too many decks that actually run force cards. But yeah, this Bungo doesn't have a CX combo, but this Bungo does. But I don't think there's too much flavor here. The only flavor is that she doesn't miss. That's the, like, only thing, I guess. Well, I guess she misses if your opponent's board is completely full, but that's not considered missing because it's not really, like, mandatory. It's not a mandatory skill. It's a you may, so you don't really. I don't know. I feel like this Bungo is just really weird to play. Though I am surprised that this set has force. To be honest, I feel like there aren't that too many sets that have force. So what happens is that for this Bungo, you reveal the top card of your deck, and if it is a Seraph character, so all the cards have attributes, so that's Seraph on it. So if you reveal the top card and it is a Seraph character, Bungo deals 4 damage to your opponent. However, if it's any other card, for example, if it's this, then Bungo doesn't deal the damage. Or if it's a climax, like this. If it's not a character, Bungo will not deal your opponent 4 damage. Period. That's what Bungo's skill is. Which is really cute. I think this is the cuter flavored card in the set. I know of another force card, and that's because I play Blau. Jamil in Twisted Wonderland also has force. But like other than that, I don't really see force played like too often. And I don't really play Twisted Wonderland too often either as a set. So with that, I guess we'll go on to the more fun cards. Specifically the main CX combo I play in my deck. So I'm gonna put the optimal board here, which might not happen all the time, but basically, well, not even optimal, I guess. But this, I'm gonna do it like this, just to show off the flavor of the deck. And then let's put some friends. So this climax combo, so the initial SS Monaka, where do you order Blau though or from? You can actually, if you're in America, you can contact your local card game store. So my local card game store does orders for JP Weiss, and that includes Weiss Rosé and Weiss Blau. So the best thing to do would be to ask your local store if they can order it for you. There is like, as per usual, there's like there's deadlines. So if there is a set I'm interested in, I usually contact my local store, ask them, and let them, and I tell them, you know, I'm interested in this once the deadline before I make up my mind. My local card store actually messaged me and they're like, hey, do you want Black Butler? The deadline's coming up. I'm like, I'm good. No Black Butler for me. But yeah, local stores in the US can actually order Weiss Schwarz Blau, Weiss Schwarz Rosé, and Weiss Schwarz JP. Because there is an American distributor. My TO is the guy asking, unfortunately. I don't run a store myself, so I don't know like how to get in contact with the distributors. Because as I said before, there's 2 separate distributors from what I understand when it comes to there's 2 different distributors. There's a distributor that is in charge of distributing English Weiss to America. And then there is a second distributor that's in charge of distributing JP Weiss, all 3 versions of JP Weiss. So if your TO or shop owner sells JP Weiss, it's most likely the same distributor. Like, you'd have to ask. Because, as I said, my local store doesn't normally carry JP Weiss. The only times they carry it is when it's specially like ordered. So like they would just have to like I don't know if the pre-orders have closed for that already, to be honest, because like there's usually a time gap. Like, when's Tales of coming? I don't remember. Your shop doesn't do JP. Yeah, you'll have to find a shop that sells JP Weiss. You have to find a shop that sells JP Weiss, and then they'll have to contact the distributor and tell them, hey, I'm looking for the JP Weiss, JP Blau stuff. But yeah, I was really lucky because I like Tales too. I like Tales as well. I specifically like Tales of the Abyss, and I was hoping like crazy that Abyss would not go to Blau. Because if Abyss went to Blau, I would have to go request a case of Blau for Tales of the Abyss. But I am really lucky that it went to regular Weiss, so less trouble for me. But yeah, Blau is a very interesting whole other can of worms. Maybe one day I'll do a stream of all the funny cards that exist in Blau, because there are a lot of funny cards that like are just weird in Blau. But if anything, my hope right now is that this gets announced in English. But yeah, I would say find if you're interested. Yeah, so that's the case too for if you're interested in JP Weiss. As I mentioned before, this set does not exist in English. This set does not exist in English at the moment. They are doing a Bushiroad conference next week. So most stores in America don't even carry Japanese product. Most stores only carry English Weiss. So if you're interested in actually playing Heaven Burns Red, like, I don't know what to say. It's an older set, so most stores aren't going to carry it in the first place, and most distributors probably don't even have it in stock anymore because it's probably out of print. So you would have to go online. There is a website though that I and a bunch of other Weiss Schwarz people order Blau from, but it is a Japanese website, so you'll need a proxy. So that's the other way to do it. You'd have to go to a Japanese website to order it and then get a proxy to ship it over. But that's a little bit messy for most people. There's also, like, you know, since you're going through a proxy, you'll have to pay the shipping / proxy. You'll have to pay the shipping fee twice. You have to pay the fee to have the item ordered for you. Then you have to pay the shipping from, you know, the Japanese store to the proxy's location, and then the proxy will have to send it to you. That's another. It's a bit of a mess, but if you really want to, there is a website that sells Japanese playsets. Unfortunately, Yutei no longer sells Weiss Schwarz Blau. So you'd have to. So the website I use is Square Bushi, and they do sell playsets. Happy Friday! Yes. Oh, also happy Halloween. If you guys are celebrating Halloween. I completely forgot that it was Halloween, and I'm really hoping no one knocks on my door for candy. Unfortunately, Yutei doesn't sell Weiss Schwarz Blau. But if you guys are interested in ordering Heaven Burns Red is on Yutei. And I opened my case a while back. Not my case. I opened up my boxes a while back, and I was missing stuff, so I actually did a big order on Yutei. So if you guys wait, let me bring this over real quick so you guys can see. Yeah. So this is all the stuff I got from Yutei. They package everything really nicely and stuff, so like I think it's worth it if you want to do like bulk orders. So I basically bulk ordered like everything that was missing from set 1 from Heaven Burns Red and set 2. I will talk about this card. I will talk about this card later. But yeah, Yutei is pretty good, especially if you want to just bulk order a bunch of stuff. Like I said, I was ordering basically everything I was missing from set 1 and everything from set 2. This isn't. I have 2 boxes, by the way. Actually, no, 3. I have 3 boxes full of stuff. Okay. But now that we are done with that, we're gonna talk about Monaka Kura and the CX combo. So this was the CX combo I actually played in a tournament. This is actually really fun. So as I said before in Weiss Schwarz, how it works is that the skills, you have 3 units in the front. So let's go like that. So Comex combo for Monaka is actually really sad, but makes sense flavor-wise. Wind combos are weird. So, this Monaka and Kura's CX combo is a reference to Chapter 3 of the game. So if you have not played Chapter 3 and are worried about me spoiling it, come back in like 15 minutes or something. Come back in 15 minutes or something. So, that's your opponent's board. This is my board. Okay? On CX combo, so as soon as this CX is placed, it nukes your opponent's board. So all these, their entire board goes away. This is a reference to Monaka taking down the flat hand from from chapter 2. Chapter 3, okay? But yeah, as soon as the CX is placed, it nukes your opponent's board. So whatever units are on there are gone. This is a reference to Monaka fighting the flat hand. Okay, and if you guys can see, there's red boxes on both Monaka and Kura. They use the same CX combo. So after it nukes the opponent's board, Monaka's card asks for cost. So what happens is, if I do not kill a Kura, it will also nuke my entire board as well. This is a reference to Monaka killing Kura to protect the rest of the squad mates from 31A from being murdered. Very sad to think about. But that's how the combo works. So the reason you want your opponent's board empty is because Kura's CX combo is, long story short, if you guys know Weiss, her CX combo is Escanor. That's almost a face cam. My face is actually on my YouTube channel. I used to do videos with my face on it before that. So what happens is that if the opponent's lane is empty, Kura will deal damage to your opponent in instances of 1. So what happens is that if you look at the bottom of it's kind of hard to see. At the bottom of every single Weiss Schwarz card, there's a little dot here. This is the soul. And this is basically how much a damage the card deals. So what happens normally is that, let's pretend that for some odd reason nothing else is here. And you can also play this combo without the Monaka. It's just that if they use the same card, so if you have both of them on board, they activate. Basically what happens is that when you attack in Weiss Schwarz, you attack equal to the total of soul. So when Kura is attacking Isuzu, she deals 1, and then this card makes it so she deals an extra 1. That means she will deal 2 damage. So what happens is that in Weiss Schwarz, you reveal the top 2 cards of your deck. Okay, that's a bad example. You would reveal the first card and then the second card. And then these cards will then go into your damage zone. So what happens is that when the lane is empty and Kura's CX combo is active, she will deal the damages together. So instead of first of all, the lane is empty. In Weiss Schwarz, if there's no opponent, you deal 1 extra soul. So in a normal situation, Kura would attack and deal 3 damage. She would go like this. Okay? And what happens is that if you hit a CX during any of it, during the top check for damage, the damage is completely negated. So let's say Kura deals 3 Kura's gonna deal your 3 damage, right? You would go, Kura attacks direct for 3. You reveal 1, 2, 3. And since there's a CX here, it negates all the damage. Your opponent will take 0. I remember you doing face videos with Alice Fiction. Yeah, I did. So that would be what happened if Kura's CX combo was not active. Let's say it was a different card instead. But since the CX is active, the damage will be individual. So instead, you would go 1, 2, actually, you'd go 1, this will stick. You do another one, the damage goes through, and then you do the third. So, Kura is very, very interesting as a card. However, this only is active if your opponent doesn't have a card in front of it. It's really funny though, because I've mentioned to someone that because when I played this, most people didn't know at my locals what it did. So they were like, "Oh, what does it do?" I'm like, "Do you know what Escanor does?" They're like, "Yeah, okay." So I'm saying he because I'm pretty much the only girl at my locals. Usually, it's usually me, and then if I'm lucky, 2 other girls. But yeah, this is basically my climax combo. So on climax play, Monaka activates. She nukes your opponent's board. She nukes and gets rid of all the cards on your opponent's side of the board. Then it asks me if I want to pay cost. Paying cost would be killing Kura. If I decide not to pay cost, Monaka kills everyone on the board except for herself. So I think this is probably one of the most flavorful cards in the Heaven Burns Red set. I feel like Chapter 3 is like... Chapter 3 is one of those chapters that just hits you really, really hard. Especially coming after Chapter 2. Because after Chapter 2, you don't expect that to happen. You don't expect what happened in Chapter 3 to happen. So... And for me personally, Kura is one of my favorite characters, so I felt like I had to play this. I will mention the other CS combo I played in here. I changed this deck. This was 8 wind. I changed it. It's not 8 wind anymore. And that's because I'm playing Double Soul. Before anyone asks, so 1 lane of Escanor and 1 direct lane, yeah. It's not, I don't know if it's, oh, there's also a ping one on top of it. Like, you also get a ping one. I should double check when the ping activates. But there's also a ping on the Monaka. So what happens is that if you decide to not pay cost, Monaka pings you 3 individual pings. So it depends on what you really, really want, I guess. Like, so if you decide not to pay, you'll only have Monaka by herself, but she also does 3 individual pings. So it really depends what you want. I really don't feel like that's ever worth it. You might as well just sack the Kura. You might as well just kill the Kura. You might as well you might as well just sack the Kura instead of losing your entire board. Unless you really think you can finish. Ideally, what you want for your board is this. Ideally, what you want for your board is this. I've never done the nuke my own board with Monaka. But ideally, what you want is three Kuras on the board. If I can find the 3rd Kura. Where the heck is the 3rd Kura? I don't know where I put her. But ideally, you want 3 Kuras on the board. And then your opponent's lanes are empty because they run into your bodyguard. So the Irene combo is... I don't really like it. I don't really like the Irene Climax combo. I was recommended to play this from someone who actually plays Escanor, and they're like, "Oh, you should try doing Double Soul." Mainly because WGP and also BCS is best of 1s, so they're like, you might as well play the Double Soul. So what happens is that when Irene, just like in the game, revolves around level 0s. So let's have a little fun. Let me see. We'll go like that. Okay, that makes the most sense. Okay. Actually, we'll do 1 more card in here for fun. So, This is Irene. And this will activate... CX combos activate as long as... They're not tied... Like, there are cards that are tied specifically to the climax, as in you have to sack the climax, so they won't... Multiple copies won't activate, but Irene is in a situation like that. So, actually, there are situations where the card basically eats the CX off the board, but in this case, that is not happening. That doesn't happen, so you can actually have 3 Irenes on the board for a CX combo. So Irene uses level 0s from your hand. In the skill. In the game, Irene is a member of 31X. Members of 31X have skills that can activate when you have 0 SP. SP is basically your... How would you explain it? Your stamina in the game? SP is basically your stamina in the game to use skills. But 31X has special... It says it right here. She's Squadron 31X. It's listed on the bottom. But 30 characters that are part of the 31X squadron are very special, as then they have skills that you can use when you have... Like, for example, let's say a skill costs 14 stamina to use. For a 31X member, that skill can be used at 0, and then they'll go into negative stamina, basically. If that makes any sense. So, of course, as a member of 31X, Irene's skills revolve around level 0s. So, Irene's skill is that you discard a level 0 from your hand, and you can salvage 2 cards from your waiting room. So, ideally, you would use Irene's skill, discard a card from your hand that you don't need, discard a level 0 from your hand you don't need, and then you can pick up 2 of any card that you want. The level that goes from your hand to the waiting room has to be a 0. But you can pick up something like that. You can pick up something like that and go into your level 2 game. So it's very, very cute how Heaven Burns Red does flavor in this game. But let's say your hand is pretty... There's 3 on the board, right? Let's say your hand is pretty terrible. Let's say it's like that. Let's say it's like that. You can just discard this 0, pick up another 0, and another card, and you just continue. I don't really like this combo. Mainly because there are... Most people play 8-win. Mainly people play... They play the 30G win deck. So Satomi and Kura are from Squadron 30G. The other level 1 that people play is Yuina, who's also from 30G. And what Yuina does is that she reveals the top 4 cards of your deck during Encore phase, which is really, really weird. And then you get to add 2 from your hand, if I remember correctly. Or was it 1? Something like that. I don't remember exactly because I haven't played it in a while. But yeah, Irene's a very, very interesting climax combo. But you have to discard a level 0 or lower character. No. Level... Actually, let me double check. Does it say character? No, it doesn't say character. Okay. Any level 0 card. Any level 0 card. Wait, did I mix up the cards? Hold on. Okay. Sorry, you don't get it from the waiting room. You get it from your deck. It's been a while since I played this. Yeah, so you discard 1, look at top 5, add 1. That makes more sense than waiting room. Okay. Sorry, I haven't played this in a while. But yeah, it's basically the same thing. You discard a 0 from your hand. Look at top 5, add 2. Look at top 5, add 2. Sorry, I'm confusing it with another card. I'm confusing it with my what's it called deck. I'm confusing it with my Honeyworks deck. Yeah, you have to ditch a 0 for cost, and then you get to look at top 5, add 2. So that is my deck. I can't believe I misread that. I can't believe I misremembered. I'm like, let me double check. I'm pretty sure. Maybe I should just pull up the translations. Okay. So we are done with those CX combos. Super duper cute. Let's see, who do we else go with? Let's go with this. Probably one of... Is it one of 3 now? I'm trying to remember. One of 2 or one of 3 extra turn cards in Weiss. So this is Akari Date. She is a tennis player, and her CX combo allows you to take an extra turn. The cost is rather expensive though. It is 8 stock. It's 8 stock, 4 cards from hand. Let me see. I believe it's 4. Yeah, it says 4. 8 stock, 4 cards from hand. I will pull it up just in case I am misremembering this. But this is the extra turn card from the set. Main thing that caught my attention is the fact that it's extra. I like extra turn decks. I'm a little weird when it comes to stuff like that. So JoJo's Bizarre Adventure has a Made in Heaven deck, which gives you a second turn. This is from 117, so this is set 2. Let me double check. Pull it up. Green. Where is she? There aren't too many decks that give extra turns in Weiss Schwarz. It's not common. The only one I can think from the top of my head is JoJo. Blau also has an extra turn deck, but it's 15 stock. And 2 Winnie the Poohs from your hand. Bunny Senpai has an extra turn deck? I don't remember that. Yeah, Blau also has one. Blau has a Winnie the Pooh deck, which gives you an extra turn, but it's like 15 stock or something crazy. I don't remember. But I think it was like 15 stock and 2 Winnie the Poohs from your hand for an extra turn. I will pull this up just in case I don't get confused. Because I have a tendency to mix up effects, mainly because I don't read Japanese fluently. So I just want to make sure I don't get this confused. This is Akari number 45. I'm on the wrong set. 45. There we go. Yep, 4 cards from hand. So at the start of your encore step, this has to be in front row, which makes sense. If Akari's in front row, and you have this, you pay 8 stock. So in Weiss Schwarz, every time you attack, you build up something called stock. So when she attacks, she reveals the top part of your deck. So pretend this is your deck. It's visible. Pretend this is your deck. You reveal the top card of your deck, and then it goes into stock. So that's how stock is built in Weiss. So what happens is that at the end, at the start of your encore step, you pay 8 cards from stock, 4 cards from hand, and send this to the waiting room, and you get an extra turn. In Heaven Burns Red, the game, Akari's not a time traveler. She's not a time traveler. However, she's able to see things in slow motion. So I think this is why she has an extra turn card. Before the, what's it called? Before I played Akari's memory of what's it called? Akari Socializations, I had no idea why. I'm like, she's a tennis player. Why does she have a card that gives her extra turns? And it's because she can see things in slow motion. I think that's the explanation for giving her an extra turn. I can't really think of what other flavor this is. But I do think this is very, very cute. There aren't too many decks in Weiss Schwarz in general that have an extra turn. So this is like something that always stands out to me whenever a card gives you an extra turn. Very, very cute. Other than that, I was looking through the rest of Squad 30D, and I didn't really find anything too interesting. So we'll call it at that. But also ditches, shuffles it, reveal. Oh, if you reveal... I feel like that's easier than paying 8 stock 4 cards from hand. So... Where is she? There she is. So... I wanted to show this off specifically because of the foils in Heaven Burns Red. When do you think of self-loathing? I wanted to bring this up because in Weiss Schwarz you have like foil versions of cards, and if anybody knows Heaven Burns Red, this is scene. This scene is from Chapter 4. This is Chapter 4 Part 1. This is from Chapter 4 Part 2. If I remember correctly. Was it Chapter 4 Part 1 that Megumin leaves? Yeah, this is technically the same card in terms of names. And it's really, really cute because Megumin's on one and Tama's on the other. So the regular base version, which is this is the lowest rarity version of the card you can get, has Megumin on it, but if you get the foil version, you get Tama. So if you get the regular version, you get Chapter 4 version. If you get the foil version, it's the Chapter 4 Part 2 version. And this is the climax that goes with Megumin. So I don't think this card has too much flavor. Megumin is... when I think of Megumin, I don't really see her as someone that is like... Okay, she is aggressive, but not in the way... I feel like this card could have had a little bit of better flavor. Basically, what Megumin's climax combo is that if she hits you, she gets to hit you again. Long story short, that's how it works. So for example, as I said before, with a Weiss Schwarz deck, you deal damage. So let's say the lane... Let's say there's someone here. Let's put Nina here. Megumin attacks Nina. And then you reveal the damage. And let's say you hit a cancel, which is the Tama here. Then she doesn't hit you again. But let's say she hits you and the damage connects. She hits you again. That's the easiest way to put it for people who don't play Weiss Schwarz. I think her CX combo is cute because Megumin is a crush user and she is known to be very kind of loud and aggressive. But most cards in Weiss Schwarz don't deal damage again if it hits. Most things in Weiss, you call them cancel burns. Basically, if the damage gets canceled, you get to deal damage again. But Megumin's one of the weird cases where if she hits you, you get to deal even more damage. Which I don't know how I feel about it. It's definitely gonna catch a lot of people off guard because you're like, oh, easiest way to explain a card is like, oh, if you cancel, you deal more damage. But then you tell them, no, if you don't cancel, I deal more damage. Someone's gonna have to pick up this card and be like, wait, what do you mean it's not a cancel burn? It's if it sticks damage, it deals more damage. Yeah, it's interesting. The most interesting thing for the card for me is that you get the 2 alternate arts. You get the different arts depending on the foils. And as I showed before the Bungos, it's not always that the foil version uses a different art. For example, this is the lowest rarity Bungo you can get, and this is the SP Bungo. Same art, slightly zoomed out. Same thing for this Bungo. Lowest rarity possible, and that's the foil version. It's not often that the foil version is completely different art. It's usually just like slightly zoomed out for Weiss Schwarz, but this is one of the cases where the art's completely different and it actually makes sense thematically. Suit Megumin negates healing, so I guess that makes sense. Oh, I didn't even think about it that way. I haven't really used my Suit Megumin. I didn't really think about it that way. Okay, if you guys know the flavor, let me know. Because I'm not too good with... Because I'm like, I don't understand why this make it so you deal more damage if they take damage. In Weiss Schwarz, most people, like... cards revolving around damage taken are usually cancel burns, where if they cancel, then you deal more damage. It's not usually when you deal damage, you deal even more damage. So, okay, that makes sense. Thank you for the flavor information. Okay, so let's see. Who are we gonna go to? Funny flavor text. Okay. We'll go with Ali-chan. So, I'm gonna say this right away. In Weiss Schwarz, you do not normally play level 2s. So this is a card that probably will never be played. And from what I've seen, isn't played. Supporting both global and Japanese servers. Are they expensive? No. I wouldn't consider these expensive. If anything, I don't mind telling you guys the prices. So the SP Bungos, this was around like 35 and this was like around 20. And these are for the foil versions. The non-foil versions of the cards are usually like cents. They're usually very, very like affordable is what I would say. Most Weiss Schwarz sets, you can actually get a full playset of 4 copies of everything from like a set. So as I was showing that giant box, there's usually like around 150 cards in a... There's usually 150 unique cards in a Weiss Schwarz set. And what happens is that most stores sell you 4 copies of every card in the set for like around 250 bucks. So like on release for the most part. Unless you really want to bling out your deck, base rarity cards are not expensive in Weiss Schwarz. And the thing is that for Heaven Burns Red, there's only currently 2 sets. And in Weiss Schwarz, you can't mix this with anything else. Well, you can mix this with Angel. You can put Angel Beats cards in here, which I guess I should have shown. Basically, you can only play a deck. You can only play the deck with Heaven Burns Red cards. So let's say you pay 250 for the first playset and you pay 250 for the next set. It's $500. It's $500 for, let me do some math. Let's see. So 150 times 4 times 2. So you basically get 4 copies of every card in the set, and each card will be around $2.40 if I'm doing my math correctly. So yeah, it's not that expensive. The other route to go would be just buying the cards for your deck specifically. Like, I don't think my deck is any more than... Okay, I will stand corrected because my deck is a little weird. There are some cards that are more expensive in here. So for example, where is the Isuzu? The Isuzus, like, I'm trying to think of like the expensive cards in my deck. It's probably these. So the Tama here is like maybe 25, if I remember correctly. Tama's like 25. Excuse me, I'm talking too much. I need some water. Yeah, so like the Tama's 25. I think the Isuzu was 20. But like, you'd basically only, if you want to play Heaven Burns Red, you'd only be buying Heaven Burns Red cards. You won't need to buy anything else. It's not like in Pokemon where like every set that comes out might have a new staple or something for you to play. Like it's not like you have to keep an eye out for every single set that they release. So Weiss Schwarz is very, very affordable in my opinion. For like, I bought the set late, which is why I basically had to pay like 25 and 20 for every copy of these that I wanted to buy. But most people do pre-orders. So if there's a series you like, so let's say they announce Heaven Burns Red Volume 3. You can probably just go to a store or like an online distributor and they'll have a playset of it up for pre-order for around 250 bucks. And maybe the cards will go up later, but the price is usually locked at $250 for a playset. That's what most people sell their cards for. If it's a very like niche and not popular set, then maybe you can get it for like $200 for a playset. But no, they're not really expensive in my opinion. And you don't have to update your deck that often. As I said, the only time I'm gonna be buying more Heaven Burns Red cards is if they release another Heaven Burns Red set. I don't need to buy anything else. With like one exception, which is this. I do have the other ones in my box. But this came from the Key Anniversary set. And there were 3 cards from the Key Anniversary set that were also Heaven Burns Red cards. So, like, this is from, like, if you look at the number here... Actually, this is not for sale. This was the promo. Basically, unless they released a promo, or there's a key set coming out that has, like, 2 or 3 Heaven Burns Red cards. But basically, unless they release a card that it specifically says Sarah for Heaven Burns Red on it, you can't even play it in your deck, so you basically only have to spend like maybe like if you're not playing a popular set, you might even only have to buy a set once. So I don't really know how to, for me, I think Weiss Schwarz is probably like the best card game to get into. As I said, if let's say I bought a playset, set 1 playset, like when it first came out, the playset would have cost me like $250. And these tamas being like 25 each, that would be $100 already. And like the other rest of the how many other cards in the set would just have to like make up the cost for it. So unfortunately for me, I didn't get into Heaven Burns Red until after the game came out in English, so I had to pay extra for the tamas, but anybody who bought the initial set probably got their money's worth. Because this is from, yeah, both of these cards are from set 1. Both of these cards are from set 1. So if you're doing the math here, this was very, very good in terms of value if you were able to get a playset for $250. Because 4 copies of Tama would be $100. And then 4 copies of Isuzu at around like $20 a copy is another $80. So that's $180 right there worth of cards that are covered by 8 cards. If that makes any sense. I am really bad at explaining things. But nowadays, like, if you want to get a hold of Heaven Burns Red, you can buy singles. You can buy like the individual cards. Let's say you wanted to build an Oshima sister deck, which I will get to because the Oshima sister deck is actually really, really like cute. Like it revolves around of having like as many Oshima sisters in the deck as possible to make use of the cards. But yeah, I think Weiss Schwarz is probably the most. Are you gonna pull for all the Angel Beats Memorial? Yes, I am. That's the reason why I didn't pull for the copy, my copy of Yingha today. So I only pulled for the Suka. I was gonna actually pull for both Yingha and Tsukasa, but then I hit the Tsukasa really early. I hit Tsukasa on like my 4th 10 shot, so I was like, you know, I'll hold it. I'll hold my money because I have to pull for Angel Beats. But yeah, the Oshima Sisters deck is really, really cute. Where is that event? So this is the Oshima Sisters event, and basically, let me just double check. I'm pretty sure it allows you to look for a card named Isuzu, Ichigo, Nina, Minori. Basically, this allows you to add one of the sisters to your hand. Which is let me just double check before I like misspeak again, because like as I said, I don't speak Japanese fluently. I studied Japanese in like high school for like 2 years and stuff, so I know like basics like particles, sentence structure and stuff like that, but like I am not fluent enough to be able to like read everything, especially since there's kanji involved. Forget about it. Like you start learning kanji. I started learning kanji during like the end of my first year of taking Japanese, and like I bombed I bombed my kanji tests. It's really embarrassing to say this, but yeah, I failed my kanji tests when I was taking Japanese in high school, so like don't even bother asking me to read a card if it has kanji on it. Wait, I cannot read kanji to save my life, so I'm just gonna pull up the card. Let me just double check. Is this set 1 or set 2? This is set 1. This is set 1. Do set 1. Oh, that's true, yeah. If a set's like that old, then, or if it's an older set, if it's a popular set, then it's gonna be hard to find. Unless they do reprints. Sometimes they do reprints. It's not that common. So this is what is known as a backup. Backups have this little punchy sign on them, and what happens is that you can choose an Ichigo, a Nina, a Minori, a Yotsuha, an Isuzu, or a Mua. 2 of them, not like 2 different ones. You can't pick two. You can't pick up 2 Ninas. You can't pick up 2 Ninas, but you can pick up a Nina and a Mua, or a Yotsuha and a Mua, or a Nina and a Yotsuha with this. From your deck, search your deck. You can search, when you play this, you can search your deck for 2 sisters. 2 different sisters. And let's see. One of them goes to the waiting room and the other one goes to your hand. So, ideally, you want to load your sisters. You want to load your deck filled with Oshima sisters. Very, very cute. Very, very cute. If you guys don't know, this is the little good luck charm that Isuzu picked up during her field trip, during the... I forgot what the name of the event was. But this is the little plaque that Ichigo got on her school field trip. And because she was her... So if you guys don't know Heaven Burns Red, the Oshima family is... you can say they weren't doing the best financially. So when it came time for the school field trip, they could only send one of the sisters because they couldn't afford it. So they sent the eldest sister, Ichiko. And if you guys can see here, Ichiko decided to write the names of all her sisters on the little plaque, which is super duper cute. But yeah, when you play this, you get to look up to 2 different sisters from your deck. One, your opponent chooses one of the sisters to go to your hand, and the one goes to your waiting room. And Nina actually can pick this up for you, which is kind of interesting. You would think it'd be Ichigo that would pick up the plaque for you, but it's Nina instead. So what happens is Nina's CX combo is with this one. You know, this one goes with that one. This one goes with this one. I do think that's kind of weird. I feel like it should be the other way around. Yeah, I feel like that's a little weird. So this CX goes with this, and this CX goes with this. Which is... I don't know. I feel like that's a little weird. I feel like it makes sense because Ichiko is the oldest sister, so she's a level 3, but... I don't know, I feel like she should have been the one that looks for the plaque. Is it just me? But yeah. So Nina skill. During your turn, if you have another Seraph character, it gets plus 3,000 power. So 4, 5, 6, 7, she'll be 7,000k. 7k, 7,000k, 7k. And she actually has one of 2 skills. One of which is that you can add the event from your waiting room, or you can add it from your deck. So she basically only looks for this. I think it's okay. I haven't played this deck, but I do know that someone topped with an Oshima sister deck. Like, I forgot when. But I did want to bring this up because this deck basically revolves around just having pure Oshima sisters and nothing else. If you want to make use of this, because it only searches for Ichiko, Nina. Gosh, I have to, like, naming all the 3 sisters, all 6 sisters. I can't name all 6 sisters. I'm doing good. How are you? But yeah. Very, very cute. But I feel like this should have been swapped. It should have been this. I feel like, I don't know. I really feel like this should have gone with Ichiko because she's the one who buys it during the school trip. So this is the scene of young Ichiko with her sisters. And you can see all the little good luck charms in the back. But I also wanted to bring up Ichiko too, because in Heaven Burns Red, Ichiko is a defender unit. And her skill basically not as I think the best flavor in the game is any card evolving around Aoi, but Ichiko's Climax combo makes it so the opponent across from you deals less damage, which is basically what defenders do. Yes, Ichiko Nina. Wait, I think Ichiko Nina. Minori. Ichiko, Nina, Minori, Isuzu, Yotsuha, and Mua. Yes, you can pick 2 of them using this card. Ichiko in the game is a defender, and Ichiko, the card, makes it so your opponent deals you less damage. So, as I said before, I probably need a bigger card for an example. Okay, here we go. As I mentioned earlier, the amount of damage a card deals is based off the little dots on the bottom here. Kind of hard to see. So you see there's 2 little dots here, so that means when Megumin attacks, she deals you 2 damage. Isuzu's skill is 1 of 2, and you can pick. You can either pick that your opponent deals 2 less damage, the facing character deals 2 less damage, or she cannot be targeted by effects, which is really, really cute. So what happens is that if let's say I choose the -2 soul, -2 damage skill, is that if Megumin attacks, I keep mixing up Isuzu and Ichiko. If Megumin attacks Ichiko, she'll deal 2 damage, but because of her skill, she'll deal 2 less. So Megumin will be swinging for 0 damage, which is really, really funny. Defenders in the game are basically there as like shields, taunters. So I think that fits like her card really, really well. The negating effect thing though, I'm not really sure where that comes from. Because I don't play Isuzu too often. Isuzu. Ichiko! Why do I keep saying Isuzu? Okay. I know why I keep playing Isuzu. I keep saying Isuzu because I actually play Isuzu in my deck. I play Isuzu in my deck. Where is she? I actually play Isuzu in my deck, so I keep saying Isuzu. Because that's the only member of the sisters I actually play in my regular deck. So I am so sorry I keep saying Isuzu instead of Ichiko. But yeah, the only member of the Oshima sisters I play in my deck regularly is Isuzu. So I keep saying Isuzu. But yes. I think that fits really, really well for her card. She's a defender in game, and she makes it so you can't be targeted by effects. She can't be targeted by effects, or your opponent deals you 2 less damage, which is super duper cute. And let's see. This is gonna be very, very sad. So this is Aoi. This is Aoi-chan. And she dies in chapter 2. This is Aoi-chan, and she dies in chapter 2. Her skill revolves around her being sent to memory. That is what it's called in Weiss Schwarz. In Yugi, I think you would call it removed from play. I think that's what the equivalent of it would be. I haven't played Yugi in a long time. But basically, the equivalent of being sent to memory is removed from play in Heaven Burns Red. So she's a level 2, so as I was saying earlier, most people don't play level 2s in Weiss Schwarz. So I will I'll pull up her skill just because I messed up Irene's skill earlier, so I want to make sure I get it correct before I misspeak again. Is this set 1 or this set 2? This is set 1. This is set 1. Oops, I am on the wrong set again. Why am I always on the wrong set? So, where is my Aoi? Actually, I should bring up the Aoi here. I actually run an Aoi in my deck. So, let's talk about this Aoi first. Which I do not think is ever worth... I don't think it's ever worth using her second skill. I'm gonna say it right now. So what happens is that if... Aoi also is a defender in-game, so this makes sense, but it is also a very, like, terrible skill I don't think is ever worth using. But... Let's say we have Yuki in the front. We have a Yuki here. I'll move that over there. Okay. Let's say someone decides to... I feel bad I'm using Megumin to attack everyone. Okay. Let's say this is my board. This is my board. This is my board. Oh, the ASMR? Yeah, Isuzu and Mama Risa got... It's on DL site or something like that, which I don't use. So let's say Megumin declares front attacking Yuki. What Aoi do is that she can send herself into your damage zone to basically save the unit. And it makes sense as a defender because like she protected basically everyone in chapter 2. If it weren't for her, I don't think 31A would have survived. But yeah, she'll protect the unit by putting herself into damage, and you get to bounce the card back to hand. I don't think it's ever worth it because it's basically an entire damage for it, and you also lose a unit on the board to use the skill. As I said, I don't think it's worth it as a card, as a skill to use it. However, I do use the Brainstorm, so that's why it's in my deck. But it does make sense, like, Aoi sacrificing herself to save a friend. It makes sense as a card. I use it for the other skill, not the skill where she kills herself, basically. I feel like it's so specific. It's so specific, like the timing, like when you want to use that, it's so specific that I've never used it in any of my games. But it makes sense thematically. Like thematically, it makes a lot of sense. But at the same time, I'm like, oh, that means like, am I willing to take 1 damage to save a card? Like, am I willing to kill my, like, basically she's gone, right? Like, it's 10. Am I willing to take 1 damage and lose the Aoi from my board to save another card on the board? Like, I don't know. It's kind of weird, the second skill. I've never used it, but it does make sense thematically, like what her skill. It makes sense thematically because Aoi is a defender and she did die while protecting her friends. It does make sense because she died to protect her friends. And you're guaranteed to save your unit because it's going back to your hand. It's going back to your hand. That's the safest place a card can be in Weiss Schwarz, by the way. So, like, unlike other card games where your opponent actually touches your hand, in Weiss Schwarz, it's not a thing. In Weiss Schwarz, it's not a thing. You don't really touch your opponent's hand, like, ever. If you send a card to your opponent's, like, stock, or if you send your opponent's card back to, like, the safest place for your cards in Weiss Schwarz are in your hand. every place else can be touched. Cards go to stock. Your opponent can send your cards to stock. Your opponents can send your cards to waiting room. Your opponent can send your cards back to your bottom of your deck. But it's not often that they can touch your hand. I can't think from the top of my top of my head a card in Weiss Schwarz that actually touches your like that can touch your opponent's hand. So if you bounce a card on the board back to your hand using Ali, it's most likely safe. It's most likely safe. Back to Ali. So this is a level 2. In Weiss Schwarz, you don't normally play level 2s. During your turn, she gets plus 5k, so she's a 10k level 2 during your turn, which makes sense. She's a defender. She's a wall, basically, to block things in the game. She protects her team. Makes sense, so she has a lot of power. Her CX combo is that you discard a Seraph character from your hand, and if you have the CX combo, let me just put this properly. If you have the CX combo, look at the top 3 cards of your deck, and choose up to 3 Seraph characters or the event. So this is the event. It's a 3 brainstormer. How do I explain this? It's a card. How to explain brainstorming? You flip over the top 3 cards of your deck, and then you add something based off the cards that you reveal. You can't neg your hands permanently as they get it back at the turn and place immediately. Yeah, it's I'm glad that Weiss Schwarz is one of those games where your opponents can't really touch your hand. It's also really weird too when like you have the option, like wind is one of the weird triggers in the game. So when you trigger wind, you can bounce an opponent's card back to your opponent's hand. And half the time I don't even use wind because I don't want to give a card to my opponent. So you get to add, what was it? So this is a brainstormer. How brainstormers work in Weiss Schwarz is that you reveal X number of cards. It's usually 3 or 4 or 5, and then certain effects activate based off of the cards that are revealed. So you reveal the top card, you look at the top 3 cards of your deck, you can add up to 3 Seraph characters or Seraph characters and the event. And you show them to your opponent. And then at the end of, until the end of your opponent's next turn. This is where the skill comes in. During your opponent's turn, all players' characters cannot be reversed. So nobody is dying. Nobody is dying when the climax combo is active. And at the start of your opponent's encore step, she goes to memory. She gets removed from game. Very flavorful for Ali as a card. As I said, most of her cards revolve around her dying or sacrificing herself to save another card on the board, which makes a lot of sense. This is not a card that's played, mainly because it's a 2-1. Most people's decks don't even play level 2s in Weiss Schwarz, but I do think this is a very flavorful card in general for Ali. All of her cards, actually. I can't think of an Ali card that isn't flavorful, but that's also like that. But yeah, a lot of her cards revolve around sending to memory or like remove from play and stuff like that. Brainstorm any number of things. 1, 2. Is there a brainstorm 1? I've seen 3, 4, and 5. I don't think I've ever seen 1, 2, and 6. But then, so, okay, where is the funny stuff? It's really weird trying to talk about Weiss to people and trying to avoid all the keywords. But yeah, last but not least, which I don't like the level 3 for this deck. I don't remember what it was exactly, I'll have to look it up, but I don't really like, I remember reading this Ruka level 3 and not liking it. Oh, Familiar of Zero, okay, that makes sense. But, Let me just make sure I'm not doing this wrong again. 31A, 31A, and 31A. Okay. Only hit maximum time. Oh, okay. So there are cards in Weiss Schwarz, multiple cards that use the same CX combo. As I showed before, the Kura and the Monaka use the same CX combo, and these 3 cards all use the CX combo. They use the same CX combo. And they're actually from different sets. I forgot, one of them is from the older set. This is 401. This is where and okay. So these 2 were released in the same set. This was released in the second set. This CX was from the first set as well. So let's say you you just only bought volume 2 of Heaven Burns Red. You'd have to go and buy the CX if you wanted to play it. Is this anime game? It's not gambling, because I'm not doing any gacha today. But yeah, this Yuki uses this CX combo, uses this climax, and this climax is from set 1. So I guess if you really wanted to play the Yuki randomly and you didn't buy any of set 1, you have to go out and get yourself this climax, which is not often. Like that's not really often. Metamuse was my first deck. We Are a Single Light. We Are a Single Light was like my 2008 deck, which is really fun. With having just seeing all the cards on the table. No, I'm addicted to opening packs. I'm addicted to opening packs too. Which is I will say this right now, if Heaven Burns Red gets a set 3 announced, I'm buying a case. Well, most likely buying a case. Because if Bungo doesn't get any SPs, then I'm not buying a case. But if if Bungo gets an SP in volume 3 of Heaven Burns Red, I'm buying a case. If she doesn't have an SP in the set, forget it. I'm not getting the case. But if Bungo gets an SP in set 3 of Heaven Burns Red, I'm buying a case. I am most likely going to be buying a case too if this gets announced in English, which I really hope we are getting this announced in English next week. I've been hoping like crazy that we're getting this set in English. I know it's very unlikely because of set ratios and whatever. At least that's what people are saying to me. If Bushi really wants to release a set, they'll release it. Okay? That's my opinion. People at my locals are saying this set is not going to come out in English because the ratios have changed. So if you buy a full case of cards for a Bushiroad card game, you're guaranteed certain cards. And what happened was that they changed the ratios. Not recently, I wouldn't say recently, but they changed how the ratios work in a case of Heaven Burns Red. They changed the ratio of cards so that if Heaven Burns Red was released in English, they would have to change the ratio to be different or something like that. Like, I don't know how to explain it to someone who doesn't open cases, but basically, let's say that you're guaranteed a certain number of cards in a case. If you buy a full case of cards, they changed the ratios for that in Japan. So if they were going to release the set in English, they would have to go back to the old case format, which is not a thing in English. So I don't know how to explain it, but basically that is the reasoning people are telling me that this set will not come out in English. For me, a set is not dead unless 3.5 years have passed. More specifically, 3.8 years have passed, because that was the time gap between Revue Starlight and JP and the Revue Starlight in English. So I do not think this set is 100% off the table. I think it's still possible. Talk to me in 3.8 years, and then I'll tell you that the set's completely dead. Then I'll tell you that the set's dead. But no, in my point of view, the set is not dead. Yeah, so they changed the ratios. So I don't know. I'm still hoping this set comes in English, especially since we get the announcement next week. But yeah, I was talking about the CX combos. I know there are a lot of people who really, really like Yuki and Ruka. So Yuki and Ruka are, how would you say, the captain and vice captain? In Heaven Burns Red, I don't know how to explain it. I don't know how to, cause like they're basically like, Ruka's basically the captain and Yuki's basically the co-captain. But Yuki is the captain of their band. Is review the longest delay between language drops? It's either review or it's konkole. It's either review or konkole. But I think I did the math for review and it was like 3.8 years or something like that. But Review is also interesting because Review Starlight does belong to Bushiroad. It's like a Bushiroad IP, or they at least partially own it. So it's Captain of the Assault Squad. Yeah. So Ruka and Yuki, they have a lot of cute moments in the game together. So it makes sense that they use the same CX combo. So when 79, which one? This is 79. Okay. So her combo is that this is 79. When this is placed in your CX area, if you have 2 or more other Seraph characters, choose one of your characters, and this turn it gains the following ability. When it's reversed, you can choose one character in your waiting room and add it to your hand. I guess that makes sense because Yuki's a hacker and she finds information and stuff, so I guess that makes sense as her skill. I think the Ruka, this Ruka is the one that, yeah, the Ruka is actually more flavorful. The Ruka is the one where you get to deal 1 damage and then get to deal 2 damage. So Ruka is one of the most interesting characters in Heaven Burns Red because she is someone that has 2 Seraphs. So all the girls in this game have 1 weapon. And I'm counting that including like, you know, Miyu who uses like a bow and stuff. But Ruka uses 2 swords. And she's like the only one basically in the game that has 2 Seraphs, 2 weapons. So her climax combo is that you can deal one of the 2 effects in the following order. Deal 1 and then deal 2. So basically Ruka slashes you once and then Ruka slashes you again. So really, really cute CX combo. And then Yuki's, what is this Yuki's? When this is placed, you have 2 or more other Seraph characters. Look at the top 2 cards from your deck. Choose up to level 1 or lower. Okay, it's another scrying skill, which makes sense as Yuki, since Yuki's a hacker and she's always looking for information and stuff. So yeah, so these 2 Yukis are scry skills, looking at the top of your deck at, not scrying, but, you know, looking at the top of your deck and choosing cards. Oh, waiting room. Okay, this one is waiting room. This searches from your graveyard. This one searches from your deck. Hello. But yeah, this is very, very cute. Does she deal damage to herself in the game because accelerate costs? Oh, right. I think the accelerate cost is probably due to chapter 4. So in chapter 4, she actually loses her Seraph. She doesn't, from what I know, she doesn't deal any damage to herself. She does go crazy during like chapter 3. She goes a little crazy in chapter 3 and Yuki is the one to calm her down. Maybe that's why she deals damage to herself for the accelerate. Actually, I'm not sure. I don't really play Rukas. The only thing I know that would probably would be that's chapter 5. Gosh, blasted, I'm mixing up the chapters. I'm mixing up the chapters. But yeah, Ruka does end up losing one of her Seraphs during chapter 5. So that is why I probably think that's probably why the accelerate is there. Or it's because she goes bonkers, a little bit crazy, then Yuki's the one to calm her down in chapter... Which chapter is it? Chapter 3, where she gets a little mad about going to the Aegis Tower. I think that's chapter 3, right? Yeah, it's the Kuro chapter. That's probably why they use the same CX combo. But yeah, I really like cards that have that use multiple CX combos. As I mentioned before, and also Yao mentioned in chat, I played Metamuse, which was my deck in 2008. And what happens is that there's a Nico, there's a Kotori, and there's a Maki that all use the same CX combo. And it's very nice because then you have cards that have multiple uses. My Honeyworks deck is the same way. My Honeyworks deck has 2 cards each that are associated with their CX combo. So I think that's very, very cute. I will mention a few other cards that are not CX combos that are really, really interesting in terms of flavor. So Yuina is one of them. Where is she? Oh, is she not in here? Oh no, that's not good. Chie, and she's not here. Oh my gosh, where is she? Give me just a second. I need to find her because she's one of the most she has flavor. Where is she? So she is, where is she? Oh no, do I have to go looking for her now? Okay. If you're wondering, I was messing around. I was trying to build a standby deck. I'm probably gonna have to revisit that. Because I was working on a standby deck because of the new announcements. Because the new announcements, I was working on a new standby deck. Where is she? Oh, there she is. Okay. These are not CX combos, but they are very funny in terms of flavor. Especially the Yuina. The Yuina one has me super duper worried. But we will talk about that when we get there. Actually, the Yuina is probably the best thing to talk about right now. So, this is Yuina. Yuina, also known as Yuina Senpai, also known as the White Lily. So, Yuina's skill is that when she's placed on board, she can give someone plus 2,000. Yeah, plus 2,000. And she can look for a friend when she dies. And that has me very, very worried. Because Yuina in the game, there is an event. I forgot which event was it. There is an event where she tells Ruka that someday I'm not going to be here. And I think that's what this card is a reference to. So what happens is that, first of all, as I said, when she's played, she can give someone plus 2,000. The skill is that when she dies, you can put a card from your hand into clock. And I believe it's pick anybody. Yeah, you can pick a character from your deck and add it to hand. This also makes me terribly worried that she's gonna die in one of the upcoming chapters, but I hope that's not the case. I hope that's not the case. I hope the fact that if she dies, you get another friend, and that's what her card does, makes me extremely paranoid that she's gonna die. As you guys have seen throughout all these cards, Weiss cards are very flavorful and reference the game very, very well. And the fact that something happens to her when she dies is I'm a little paranoid. Yuina is one of my favorite characters in the game. So I hope she doesn't die. Be a perfect gift for her daughter this Christmas. I hope she enjoys the cards. We haven't lost anybody in a while. Yeah, we haven't had anybody die. And so Heaven Burns Red is very, very different, I guess, when it comes to gacha games, because they not actively. Nobody is safe in Heaven Burns Red. They will actually kill characters in Heaven Burns Red. As I said, Aoi died in chapter 2, and Kura died in chapter 3. And they're characters that they still release gacha units for. So like, Aoi died in chapter 2, and they're still releasing cards for her in JP after her death. So just because your favorite unit gets cards doesn't mean she's not gonna die. So yeah, when Yuina dies, you can put a card from your hand into clock, and you can add a friend. She's really pretty. She's also a really, like, I think most people play like 2 copies in their deck, because it just allows you to add whatever you want to your hand. So most people play like 2. People have been telling me to play 3 or 4. I think that's too many, especially since I also play the Isuzu. But yeah, very, very flavorful card. This is Chiroru. Also, no CX combo on the card. Chiroru's skill is that it's similar to the Aoi card. It's similar to where is it? So Chiroru in Heaven Burns Red is basically a stunt performer. She makes a hint. She makes a hint that she was like one of the stunt women for like Kamen Rider, and that she was doing like all the action moves. And Chiroru is like very, very like sweet, and she's like super duper cool. Her story mentions that she's proud of the scars that she has on her body, because that means it was a job well done. Like, for her, scars are like an honor to her and proof that she did her job and what she was hired to do. So it makes sense that normally you put Chiroru in the back. Actually, put her here because this actually makes sense. So what happens is that if you attempt to front attack anyone, Chiroru will send herself to the waiting room, and she'll give that unit plus 1500 power. And I'm like, that makes so much sense with what Chiroru's character is in game. She's a stunt actor. She takes the hits for the person that she's like, standing in for. The other skill is kind of a little weirder. Basically, she gets the top check of your deck, and you get to see what it is. And I think it gets to go to waiting room or not. Does it go to waiting room? Yeah, you can look at the top card of your deck and choose if it stays on top or goes to the waiting room. So I think Chiroru is also a very flavorful card. I was running this in my standby deck, and I don't know if it's actually needed and stuff, because a lot of standby units are very big already, but I was just messing around with it. I think it's okay. Oh, I made a mistake. It's plus 3000. So yeah, when somebody is front attacked, Chiroru sends herself to the waiting room and then gives that unit plus 3000. And when she hits the waiting room, so when she hits the waiting room, she doesn't have the second skill where she hits the waiting room activates even if you play over her. So in Weiss Schwarz, there are cards that specifically say if a card is reversed versus a card that's just sent to waiting room. So the little, where's that little arrow? For reverse, if a skill activates on reverse, they have a little arrow underneath it. Let me see if I can find one. I don't think I have. Yeah, there we go. So this is Akari. Kind of hard to see, but there's a little arrow like right there. But yeah, you can just use Chiroru just to scry and look at your top of your deck just by playing cards over her. So when I say she has to die, it's like you can manually send her to waiting room by playing something over her too. It's not on reverse, it's when she's sent to waiting room. When she's sent to the graveyard. But I also wanted to talk about Lolita Chie. So Heaven Burns Red. Wow, there's a lot of defenders have a lot of like good flavor. So this is Chie. She is also a defender in Heaven Burns Red, which means she basically protects people. And in Heaven Burns Red, she's also known as like the very, very loud Lolita. So I think it makes sense that Chie is something that is known as a bodyguard in the card game. So what happens is that in Heaven Burns Red, when you play the card game, as I mentioned before, you have 3 lanes in front and 2 lanes in the back. And how it works is that when you attack someone, you attack the unit in front. So it'd be like this. Should stop using the foil bungos. So when in Heaven Burns Red, you attack in Heaven Burns Red. In Weiss Schwarz, when you attack someone, you attack the person in front. It's also funny when she loses her temper. That might also be why she gets a lot of power. So Chie is what is known as a bodyguard, which makes sense because she's a defender. What happens is that on the turn it's played, only the turn that she's played, bodyguard activates. And bodyguard makes it so your opponents have to attack her. So normally you I'll attack Yuki, I'll attack Megumin. I'll use Megumin to attack Ruka. Let me find someone else to attack. So in Heaven Burns Red, let's say not Heaven Burns Red. In Weiss Schwarz, this would be like your normal board. Chiruru would attack Yuki, Bungo would attack Yuki, Megumin would attack Ruka. And that's how it normally is. However, when a bodyguard is placed on the board, all units have to front attack Chie if they want to attack. So in Weiss Schwarz, there's also 2 different types of attacks. There's known as side attacking and front attacking. In side attacking, you don't lose your unit because you never directly attack a unit. It's basically a way to get around things, still like build up stock, still deal damage without losing your unit. But when a bodyguard is placed, Chiruru, if she wants to attack while Chie is on board, she has to front, and she has to front Chie specifically. Same thing for Bungo. If Bungo wants to front attack someone, she has to attack Chie. And fronting means you compare your powers at the end of the battle, and if they're tied, the same amount of power, or whoever has the lower power gets sent to the waiting room, gets sent to graveyard. So side attacking, you don't ever compare damages. Like the units never directly attack. So basically, Chie stands there and is like, "You have to attack me." And Chie is very, 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 very loud. She's defender. She's very like certain, like she's like the Lolita culture and stuff like that. She's very like, she likes certain things done certain ways. So I think this is probably one of the funniest like things ever. They made Chie a bodyguard. I don't know if there's other bodyguards in the set, but it's fun. But it's only for the turn that she's played. So next turn she's back to normal. You can attack everyone else. You don't have to attack her. But on the turn bodyguards are played, their opponents have to attack her, which is really, really fun. That's why it works with the Kura. So ideally what happens is that everybody runs into Chie, so then the lanes will be empty, and then you bring out Kura, and Kura can attack everyone directly. So that's how my deck works for Heaven Burns Red. I think that's super duper cute. I kind of wish there was better art, but this was from set 1, so I'm not like, I can't expect too much. But also it's not visible, so I'm gonna bring it up, and I don't think you guys can read it anyway. But Chie's power says 2,500, but she actually gets more power if she has friends. So the first line is that if you have, if you have 2 other Seraph characters, she gets plus 8,000. So if she has friends with her, she gets plus 8,000. So she's 10-5 if she has friends. And then Bodyguard, the turn that she's played, it gives her a plus 2,000. How do you win a game of Weiss Schwarz? So you win a game of Weiss Schwarz by dealing 28 damage. So you have to deal 28 damage, but the 28 damage is dealt in a very interesting way. Unless you're playing Maki-ine. Maki-ine is a different story. So how Weiss Schwarz works. So let me go through like a regular basic turn of Weiss Schwarz just so we can like understand how things work. So I wish I had a regular playmat. I can probably find one later. Okay. Let me do this so you guys can understand the positions. I'm just gonna go like that so you guys can understand. So as I said, it's a column, it's a row of 3 and a row of 2. And then you have your climax zone, which is here. So what happens is that, so this is your clock and level area. So when you take damage, so for example, let's say so this Seika has 1 soul right here. So let's say Seika attacks, she'll deal me 1 damage. So I reveal the top card of my deck. And if it's not a climax, if it's not a horizontal card, the damage stays in the damage zone. So that's 1 damage. When you hit 7, 4, 5, 6, 7, you pick a card from here and that goes into your level zone. So this is called leveling up. So I'm going from level 0 to level 1. And at this point in the game, you can play level 0 and level 1 characters. And then it repeats again. You take damage. Well, not like that. You take damage again. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have 7 cards in my level zone again. So I pick a card. You would never do this, by the way. Excuse me. And now I'm level 2, which means I can now play level 2 or lower cards. You repeat this again until you hit level 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then you hit level 3. And at that point, you can play level 3 or higher cards from your hand. And then you're at level 3. You take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and you have lost the game. No, this is I would say it's, I can't really compare Weiss to any other card game. Like Magic the Gathering is not the correct wording for this game. Like, that being said though, I do know of, there's a store owner I met in, not Texas, I think it was Chicago a few years back. And the store owner is really, really chill. And he said that the only 2 card games he plays is Magic and Weiss. So there is like Magic, I can't think of any, like, I can't think of any comparison to Weiss Schwarz. Weiss Schwarz plays very uniquely. I think the best comparison for Weiss Schwarz would be Pokemon. It's called White and Black because it's a remnant of the old format back in the day. So do I have any examples? So first of all, it's called Weiss Schwarz because White and Black, but there's actually 2 factions in Weiss Schwarz. There's the Weiss faction and the Schwarz faction. So if you guys see in the corner, there's white wings here, but in other sets, do I have another set on me? Do I have a Schwarz set? Wait, I do have a Schwarz set. I play Overlord. Hold on. Give me just a second. I'm gonna grab one of the Schwarz cards. Alrighty. Okay, so it's called Weiss Schwarz because they're used to it's like a leftover format. It's like an old format, and that's what it used to be originally. So you have the Schwarz faction, which if you look has black wings on the side, and then you have the Weiss faction, which has white wings on the side. Back then, there used to be a format where you can only play cards from a Weiss side and deck that's only from the Schwarz side. So, like, as I said before, for Heaven Burns Red, normally, and especially in, like, big tournaments like VCS, BSF, and all those big tournaments, you can only use the same title. So, this is HBR, Heaven Burns Red. And the title is usually, like, on the side or on the card itself. But I don't know if anybody even plays the old format anymore. But you used to be able to mix cards that are all from the same side. So for example, if it was a Weiss versus Schwarz tournament, this card I have in hand is from Nikkei, but Overlord is also Schwarz. I can mix Nikkei cards with Overlord cards because they're both Schwarz cards. And then I could mix like Love Live with like Heaven Burns Red because they're both Weiss side cards. But that's a format that's not really played anymore. There also are Weiss versus Schwarz tournaments. So someone brings a deck that's from Weiss side and someone brings a deck that's from Schwarz side. So it's like remnants of it's remnants of like an old format that used to be. Yeah, I like nobody at my locals plays that format, so I've only heard about it, and I've heard like also because I play Blau, so Blau has a Weiss versus Schwarz versus Blau tournament, where someone brings a Weiss deck, someone brings a Schwarz tournament, someone brings a Weiss deck, someone brings a Schwarz deck, and someone brings a Blau deck. So I know about it because I hear about it via like Blau, and I keep up with Blau news. So yeah, it's remnants. You also have Rosé. Rosé is also another one. Blau. So Blau is specifically for. So the mat I'm using, which by the way, is a Weiss Schwarz Blau deck. If you guys, Weiss Schwarz Blau mat. So Blau is separate. And Rosé is also separate. So Blau decks are the titles that are in Blau are mainly targeted towards females. And the girlfriend across the videos. Oh, that's funny. So Blau cards are Weiss Schwarz Blau mainly targets the female demographic. So they have things like they have Disney Tsum Tsum. They have what other titles are in Blau? They have Apothecary Diaries. They have Twisted Wonderland. They have NoblePeridot. They have Idolmaster M. They have Frozen. They have Frozen as a set in Blau. Basically, they have Sanrio. They have Hello Kitty in Blau. So Blau is mainly specifically targeted towards the female demographic. Regular Weiss Schwarz is mainly targeting a male demographic. Rosé's IPs are mainly like eroge and like ecchi anime. Blue Lock is also part of Blau. So yeah, Blau is mainly all like the decks that I don't know how they decide what like IP is for girls and what IPs are for dudes, but yeah, Blau is whatever Bushiroad, the company who makes this game, decides is girly or more for girls. Rosé is mainly like a lot of the more ecchi titles. So like what's one of those titles? What's that brothel anime? Interspecies Reviewers. Interspecies Reviewers and How to Train to Be a Magical Girl. And like some like 18 plus eroge is part of Rose. Blue, so Katekyo Hitman Reborn is also part of Blau. I'm saying this because I am female. I think they put Blue Lock in Blau because there's a lot of dudes in it. It's the same thing with like Twisted Wonderland and stuff, and like Utapri and Idol Master M. There's just a lot of dudes in it, and mainly like maybe a lot of the demographic for Blue Lock is female. That's my guess, at least. Like, I don't work for Bushiroad. I don't know how they determine what title is more for Blau and what title is more for regular Weiss, but so I don't know how they decide. As I said, I don't work for the company. My guess is that it's a lot of dudes. There's a lot of girls who like the series, thus we'll put it in Blau. That is my guess. But regular Weiss, a lot of the titles are kind of like I think a lot of the Weiss titles, there's no waifus in Blue Lock. It's funny because Tokyo Revengers is now in Blau too. So Tokyo Revengers is in Blau and regular Weiss. Tales of the Abyss, the Tales of series has a set coming in Blau and also a set in regular Weiss. So sometimes they put it in both. Sometimes they put it in both. As I said, Tales of is going to be coming in Blau and also coming in regular Weiss. So, and Tokyo Revengers is in both regular Weiss and also in Blau. So I don't know how they decide these things. It's just how it is, I guess. But yeah, if I were to compare Weiss to a card game, I would compare it to I'd compare it to Pokemon. Not because of like the play, like not because of how the game is played, but because Weiss Schwarz is a very deck compressed. Like this game focuses a lot on deck compression. So like, you know how in Pokemon, can you play a regular deck versus a Blau deck? I do it all the time at my locals. They don't have a problem with it. Technically, you're not supposed to because Blau decks are weaker. It's because, so Blau also has a lot of easier effects, simplified effects. I can't imagine the reason for it. I can't imagine the reason why they would think Blau should be simpler. But we're talking about Weiss Schwarz. I've already gone over the cards I'd prepared for today. You know, Weiss Schwarz Blau is supposed to be targeted towards the female demographic. I can't imagine why the cards have simpler effects and have less power compared to regular Weiss cards. You technically, power-wise and like card effects-wise, Blau does not compare to regular Weiss. A lot of people say Blau's power level is probably like early 2000s Weiss. But yeah, mechanically, Weiss Schwarz Rosé, Weiss Schwarz Blau, and regular Weiss Schwarz, gameplay-wise, there is no difference. The game plays exactly the same way. It's just that the power on the cards is much lower, and the skills on the cards are less complicated. So I will bring this up because I do have it on the table. So as I mentioned before, these are climax cards. And so this is standby. That's that trigger right there. That's standby. That's choice. That's gold bar. That's door. So this trigger, standby, does not exist. Standby does not exist in Blau. Standby does not exist in Blau. I don't see the reason why. I personally don't think it's hard to play a standby deck, but this doesn't exist in Blau. And like how most cards here are like most level 3s in like regular Weiss have really crazy finishers. Like they're a lot of level 3 CX combos, like ping for extra damage, or the card itself has like extra power and stuff like that. In Blau, most cards in Blau, like their level 3s are like 9Ks, and they don't get any extra power. And because of that, it's kind of hard to fight. It's kind of hard to fight a regular Weiss deck if you're playing Blau. For example, as I said, this AOE gets plus 5,000 power. That's not really a thing in Blau. Cards like level 3s don't normally get extra power. So like it's really hard to run over anything. They can hold off on giving them standby. But with how Weiss plays, there's a lot of deck compression involved. I haven't played Pokemon in forever. They're called Climax cards because for Weiss Schwarz, I guess I should mention this. The whole thing about Weiss Schwarz is that you're putting on a show. So I guess I should give you guys like the actual names of this. So for example, so it's like this. And this is your front stage, your back stage, and your graveyard is called the waiting room. So basically in Weiss Schwarz, you're putting on a show to basically prove your show is better. Is how I like to see it. Basically, what the official tagline from what I remember on the Weiss website, it's like, relive your favorite moments in Weiss Schwarz. Like, I think that's what the old ads used to be. It's like, I think that's what like the old ads used to be. It's like relive your favorite moments in Weiss Schwarz with Kasumi and whatever their names are. Basically, you're putting on a show. There's your front stage, your back stage, your waiting room, and then the climax is like the climax of a story. That's why it's called climax cards. But that's the whole concept of Weiss Schwarz. You're basically reliving your favorite moments from the game, or whatever anime, game, fighting game even, because we have Guilty Gear as a set in Weiss Schwarz. JP has King of Fighters. They also have Puyo Puyo, like Puyo Puyo Tetris as a set in JP Weiss Schwarz. So basically relive your favorite moments playing Weiss Schwarz. And like, I think they've done a really, really good job. As I said, Kura, Monaka, like all of this stuff makes a lot of sense, like skill-wise. Where's Kura? I think Weiss Schwarz does a very good job. Yeah, climaxes, key moments, yeah. The climax of a story and stuff like that. Like, I think thematically, like, Weiss Schwarz is very fun as a game. It's just, I feel like Weiss Schwarz is not a game that most people, like, would play. Because it's not very, like, showy. It's very, there's not that much interaction. So I've actually tried, I always try to get people to play Weiss Schwarz. And the main complaint I have from people is that it's not interactive enough. The main complaint I have from people is that it's not interactive enough. And I think that makes sense from people who've come to play, who've played Yu-Gi, who've played like Magic and stuff like that. You know, Yu-Gi, there's plenty of interaction. It's like, oh, I'm attacking, I will drop a fader. You know, that kind of thing. Or I'm gonna activate my trap card, that kind of stuff. What other things? I'm gonna drop Honest, I'm gonna drop Kalut. Like, there's a lot of interaction in Yu-Gi. And like, there is that in Weiss as well. We have backups, which is basically the equivalent of an Honest. But it's not something that is that takes up like a good amount of your deck. So, do I have one? I think I do have one. It's... Where's Byakko? Where's my cat? So I have... Where's Byakko? I was also trying to... Because I currently... There's Byakko. Okay, there's Byakko. So... This is Byakko. She's a very, very lovely tiger in the game. And if you guys see here... it says plus 3,500. It also has a little fist icon. So a little fist icon means you can play it on your opponent's turn. And right here it says plus 3,500 power. So what happens is that your opponent attacks you, you can drop this to give your unit plus 3,500 power. Similar to how you drop Honest or Collude. In Yu-Gi-Oh! You would probably... Or Fader. Fader is different though. I don't think we have an equivalent of a Fader. Do we have an equivalent of a Fader in Weiss? I guess sit backups. I think that's different. I think sit backups aren't the same thing as a Fader. But basically, in regular like magic spells. Yeah, unless you're playing like an event-based deck. Unless you're playing an event-based deck like Free Ren, AOT. I have Yohane Sunshine in the Mirror sitting behind me. But like, unless you're playing decks that specifically play events and play backups, most people only play like maybe 1 or 2 backups in their deck. It's not something that's very like. If you're playing a deck with lots of events and backups, yeah, balance is still and If you're playing like events that like, if you're playing, there are decks that are very event heavy, but the main complaint I've seen from friends is that it's not interactive enough. Like, it's not interactive enough compared to Yu-Gi and other games, and that's why they don't like playing Weiss. They say it's very, very slow, and it's not very interactive. Which I guess I understand, because like they liked playing like Shadowverse and stuff like that. Like they liked playing Shadowverse, they liked playing Yu-Gi. They like it, so they like card games that can react. You have a response to everything. Like, and I don't like. I don't see people who like those type of games getting into Weiss Schwarz. Like, if you want a card game that's very interactive, then like Weiss isn't the way to do it. Like, they like being able to, like, you know, drop spells in Shadowverse. They like being to drop Honest and Collude and Faders and stuff like that. But like, that's not really a thing. Like if you're playing Yu-Gi-Oh, you're gonna be playing 4 Honests in your deck, you're gonna be playing 4 Colludes, you're gonna be playing 4 Battle Faders. But in Weiss Schwarz, backups are usually only like 1 copy, maybe 2 in your deck if you're not playing an event heavy deck. And it's very... It targets a very specific type of demographic in my point of view. Not saying that you don't need a lot of deck knowledge playing Weiss, but I think like MTG too. Especially if you're playing Commander, because then you need to know everything. For Weiss Schwarz, most people are running like anti-change backup in their deck if they have it. They're playing like memory kicks, they're playing sit backups. Like, you know what the backups are. And every deck has them. Every deck has them. Versus if you're playing against a Yu-Gi player, you have to be aware of so many more things and such a larger range of things compared to Weiss. Same for Shadowverse, because when I played it, I was like, I had to keep track of every single spell that I could possibly run into, depending on the matchup and everything. But in Weiss, there's like a general set of cards that you're usually aware of, like that everybody plays. But let's say you're playing against Shadowverse. You're like, okay, this is Swordcraft. What spells do they have that can stop me? Oh, they're playing Force. What cards can they play that can stop me? And then Yugi also has that big range, and it's like, okay, what trap cards might I run into? I mean, for Yugi, there's the general things, like there's Solemn, there is like, you know, all that other stuff. But like, Weiss is the knowledge that you need for Weiss is much less, I would say, compared to other card games. Just because of the interaction. Like, there's less interactive elements. You don't even have to win board to win. Yeah, that's true. You don't have to win. You don't have to be winning in board to win a game of Weiss. It's mainly about deck compression, because as I said before, let's say you deal your opponent. Let's say Kobayashi Dragon Maid. There's a card in Kobayashi Dragon Maid that allows you to declare the amount of damage you want to deal. So let's say, oh, I'm gonna deal 10. 1, 2, 3, 4. It doesn't matter. It gets canceled at 4. Like, is it possible that maybe they have like... Ooh, that's bad. Like, it's... You can also just... You also don't have to be stronger than your opponent to deal damage in Weiss, which is also very interesting. So, for example, I will do this. So this is Monaka. She has 10k power. This is Yuina. She has 1500 power. Yuina swings at me. She will die. She will die. But she has 1 soul here, which means regardless, she still deals me 1 damage. So like it's not like Yugi where the bigger number deals more damage. Cards have a set amount of damage you can deal. Monaka deals 2, Yuina deals 1. And as I said before, I compared it to Pokemon, it's because there's so much deck compression in the game itself. So, let's say, because I know someone that plays Tokyo Revengers. And at one point in time, like, their deck was like... Their deck was like this. So, like, basically he was not going to be taking any damage. The biggest thing for Weiss is deck compression. Like, you're only allowed to play 8 climaxes in your deck. So what you want is to make it so your deck has like a nice ratio between climaxes, the horizontal cards, and the regular cards. And some decks do it better than others, but overall that's what you want to do in Weiss. It doesn't matter if you're swinging for 20 damage if the top card of your opponent's deck is a climax anyway. And you also don't deck out and die. I don't know, in Pokemon, when you deck out, do you lose in Pokemon? I don't remember. Because I was looking at some Pokemon deck lists, and I saw that people were playing like maybe like 10 Pokemon max, and a lot of the other things were like, what are they called? Like, they were like searchers and stuff, like things to look through your deck for stuff. But yeah, Weiss also has this, so when you deck out, you don't die. And like, it's for me, I think the main selling point of Weiss is the flavor of all the cards and like the theming. That's why I even wanted to do this stream today. because I really wanted to talk about how great Weiss is as a game. Because like it's really, really cool to see. Also because I got spoiled while opening packs. He also died, my Pokemon lose on Deca, okay. But yeah, I like, I really want more people to play Weiss Schwarz, because I feel like people, even when I started playing Weiss Schwarz, what people told me was that it was Waifu the card game. And my first experience playing Weiss was not pleasant. As I said, the guy who taught me how to play Weiss, like my first like game of Weiss, he would just play the card and go, I hate this game. Attack, go, I hate this game. Like, I did not have a good first impression of Weiss. That, and because people kept calling it Waifu the card game. The other thing is that people don't seem to like Weiss because of them using screenshots, is what people would call it. Heaven Burns Red is different because this is the game art. But like, if you look at other sets like Overlord and stuff like that, people are like, oh, it's just using the screenshots from the game and stuff like that. So like, I feel like Weiss Schwarz just has a really bad rap from people who haven't even played the game. And that kind of is very upsetting, because Weiss itself is a very fun game to play, and it's a game that you don't need to know too much. As I said before in my previous Weiss Schwarz stream, I do not have good memory. And that was one of the reasons why I couldn't really play Vanguard. Because like, you have to remember how much shield they have in their hand and stuff like that. And my memory is terrible. My memory is terrible. And I also played Yugi for a while, but over time, like, the amount of cards you can use in Yugi that you have to watch out for, like, it gets way too much. And like, Weiss Schwarz itself, you don't really need to know too much, because a lot of the cards are similar across all different sets. A lot of people play Weiss first because see a property, and they stay because the game is really good to play. Yeah, that's how I actually got into Weiss myself. I got into Weiss via Love Live. I mentioned that the first deck I played at regionals was Konkole, but before that, I actually collected Love Live. That's how like my first ever game was with Love Live, and my buddy teaching me how to build a Weiss Schwarz deck and him like going over it. But yeah, I started playing Weiss Schwarz when the original Love Live set came out. Oh boy, thinking about it is crazy, because old Weiss Schwarz boxes only had one foil per box. And that's crazy thinking about it now. It's crazy thinking about it now. A lot of things have changed. But yeah, I feel like a lot of people just don't give Weiss a try, because they either say that it's Waifu the card game, they say it's because of the screenshots. I feel like Weiss just has a really bad rap, and like it's very unfair, because the card game is actually really fun to play. It's not. Excuse me. I need water. Weiss does not play like other card games. It's not interactive like Yugi. It's not interactive like Shadowverse or Magic. There's very little like player interaction. And like the biggest thing for me about Weiss Schwarz is that you don't have to buy every single set. That's like the best thing about Weiss Schwarz. I keep forgetting his name. What was his name? There's a pretty famous player in the Weiss Schwarz community. I forget his name. It's funny because I fought him in Texas a few years ago. But I never call him by his name. Like, oh, it's Mr. AOT champion guy. There is a guy who played like AOT for like many years in a row. Riaz. I always forget his name. I just call him Mr. AOT champion guy. But yeah, Riaz played AOT for how many years and stuff like that? Like, some people just like sit on a deck for like multiple years, and like they don't have to buy, they don't buy any new decks. They just like the series they like to play. And like, as I said, for Heaven Burns Red, I don't have to buy any other Weiss Schwarz cards unless they release a new Heaven Burns Red set. Like, if you're playing like a very popular IP, like let's say you're playing Bang Dream or something like that, then yeah, you'll probably have to buy cards pretty consistently. Riaz was on that list for about 5 years. Yeah, the guy was playing the same deck for 5 years. It's not like Vanguard where you have to buy like 3, like how many sets would you have to buy for Vanguard a year? Like maybe 4 or 5 sets a year? Like the decks like stay playable for a very, very long time. And like how like I'm on Overlord. I think I'm on how long have I been? Am I on my 3rd year playing Overlord? Like same slime list for the last 3 years. Yeah, I'm gonna be on Overlord for forever, basically. But yeah, you don't really have to buy too much when playing Weiss. Like, if you find a deck you like, you basically never have to buy anything ever again. Unless they release support for it. Like for Overlord, since I have it sitting behind me. Overlord has 2 sets currently out in America. The Japanese Weiss Schwarz currently has 3, and they're getting a 4th, which means I know I'm gonna probably be buying 2 more sets. But like for other things, I have Cardcaptor Sakura as a deck. In English, I have Cardcaptor Sakura English, and like there hasn't been a brand new Cardcaptor Sakura like set in English in like forever. There's also English exclusive things. So like there's some sets that America only has, the English speaking side has, that Japanese side doesn't have. It's more frequent than like 3 to 4 times a year. Oh boy. But yeah, like so basically like I can play this Heaven Burns Red deck for WGP, Weiss Schwarz World Grand Prix, for the next like 4 years without changing anything if they don't release a set. Which is very like very, very nice. It's very, very nice. And like cards are not expensive. They're only expensive if like they're old, if they're an older set, or if you want like an SP, or if you want like to foil out your deck. Like cards get expensive. But it's usually 1, because it's a foil, or 2, it's an older set. If you buy cards on release, like if you buy playset on release, it shouldn't cost you more than $250 a playset. 200 even if you're lucky, and if it's a popular set that a lot of people are opening stuff for, like it's a very Weiss cards are very, very like stable, I guess you can say. Weiss cards are very, very stable, like with the fact that like base rarity wise, most cards don't get too expensive. Super nice compared, yeah. And like they're okay. Blau is a different story. Don't get me started on Blau, but like in Yu-Gi-Oh, like you can like cards only come at super duper high rarity. In Weiss, cards come at a bait. In Weiss Schwarz, not talking Blau, not talking about Rosé, because those two are 2 different stories. But in Weiss, cards will come at a base rarity and then come at a foil rarity. It's not like this card only comes as like what was it called? What's it called? Like secrets? Is that what they were called back in the day? It's not like a card only comes in secret and you have to, like, the only way to that card is secret. Like, that's not a thing in regular Weiss Schwarz. That's not a thing. Cards come in like a low rarity and then a high rarity, and you can just buy the lower rarity in a playset for like $250. And if you like the deck, you don't have to buy another set for who knows how many years. Like I remember playing, like, I remember playing Vanguard and like Pokemon as well. Pokemon has a rotation when it comes to cards, and I believe Magic has a rotation as well. But in Weiss Schwarz, the cards also, there's no rotation. Cards, like, your cards do not all of a sudden become unplayable unless you get hit by the ban list. But there's no such thing as a rotation in Weiss Schwarz that is set by the company. There is a rotation in the sense that there is a meta, but rotation-wise, as in like Pokemon rotations and stuff like that, that does not exist in Weiss. If you want to play Madoka Magica, or actually Concolay. If you want to play Concolay, my deck from 2007, I can play that in tournaments. It's not illegal. It's not illegal for me to play Concolay in a tournament just because the cards are from 2007. That's not a thing in Weiss. Like, there is no rotation set by the company that makes it so it's illegal to play certain cards in tournaments. That's also one of the great things about Weiss. And like, in Vanguard, there isn't a rotation either, but the cards get power crept on so quickly to the point that it was ridiculous when I was playing it. Not saying that Vanguard is a bad game, but it's really like unfortunate when like you're enjoying playing a deck and all of a sudden they play a new set and then all your old cards become obsolete. Or like not, like, I can't explain it. It's just very, very weird, like, to explain. Like, long story short, Weiss Schwarz is a great game. The cards have great flavor. The theme of putting on a show is great. The IPs are good too. Like, we have older set. We have Gurren Lagann. We have Persona 5, Persona 4, P3. We have Guilty Gear, Attack on Titan. Like, the game is just like, the game is so good. I can't explain. Okay. We've been here for so long. I'm going into story time mode. So, I mentioned this in my previous stream, but I was part of a Vanguard is a game balance, is fine as game balance wise, but problems where your deck must be this good or it feels terrible. Is that what's going on right now? But I was part of a gaming team a few years ago. And that's my captain was the one who taught me how to was the one who tried to teach me how to play Weiss Schwarz. And they played Vanguard. I was part of a Vanguard team. When I played, after I played Weiss Schwarz at my first ever regionals, I basically fell in love with the game. They had a Vocaloid. Didn't have any. Aww. They were releasing Colorful Stage. Actually, Colorful Stage is already out, I think. Yeah, Colorful Stage is now out as a set too. But I basically fell in love with the game. And I was talking to some of the other members of my team saying that this game is so good, it's so much fun, I like it so much. And one of my teammates said, it's a honeymoon phase. You'll get over it. You'll end up liking Vanguard more than Weiss again. If that is true, my honeymoon phase with Weiss Schwarz has been going on for like 8 years now. It's a phase. You just like Weiss Schwarz more than Vanguard right now because you're just having a honeymoon phase because it's new and everything. Yeah, it's been like 8 years. I stopped playing Vanguard. So I think it's more than just a honeymoon phase at this point. I really do enjoy this game a lot. And like I mentioned before that someday I'll probably have to stop traveling around and playing, card games and stuff like that. But like it's great traveling around and seeing everyone and playing card games with everyone. It's also the fact that in Vanguard, I never felt like I was taken seriously. In Vanguard, I felt like no one ever took me seriously. to the like, and it's happened before. People like, oh, it's a girl, free win. But like, in Weiss, I feel like people don't see me that way, and this has like, you know you're doing something right when people at your locals are like, oh, I have to play you again. Like, you know you're doing something right when your opponent's like, I have to play you again, I don't want to play you again. That didn't happen to me when I was playing Vanguard. No one saw me as a threat of ruining their locals like streak or anything like that. No one saw me as a threat while playing Vanguard. No one was worried that they were gonna get knocked down to second place or something like that if they were fighting me in Vanguard. I feel like in Vanguard no one ever took me seriously as a card game player. But meanwhile in Weiss, people are like, oh, it's you. Parker is more manageable and half the modern decks is gonna be printed. Yeah, it's Weiss, it's like, it does take me a little bit to get used to a deck in Weiss, but in Vanguard, like, in Vanguard, if I was playing a deck, like, I would never get used to it because like I have to switch so often. I'd have to switch, like, let's say I'm playing this build of Dark Irregulars, and then I never was able to grasp the deck in Vanguard that easily because of how often I was switching. Meanwhile in Weiss, I can play the same deck for 3 years and not have any issues. Weiss is just really like friendly as a game, to just pick up and play. There is a lot of, I feel like there are like weird like interactions and stuff that like people might not be used to and stuff like that. For example, the weird deck refreshing rule that got changed recently. I still remember of how the weird deck refreshing rule that they changed recently. But like, yeah, deck refreshing and that kind of stuff is probably going to be a little confusing to players that play games that just when you deck out you lose. But for the most part, it's very, very adaptable. It's like you can get used to it pretty well. But yeah, I think I'll be playing Weiss for a very long time. I hope to play Weiss for a very long time. As I said, even if I stop traveling, I'll probably still at least go to my locals. I'm actually going to my locals tomorrow after work. I'm going to be getting up at like 6 o'clock in the morning to go to work, and then I get out of work at 11:30, and then I'm heading straight to my locals to play Weiss. So yeah, I'm also going to be like doing some deck testing and stuff like that. Because I should probably get some more practice playing Overlord. It has been I have been playing, as I said, at my locals you can mix Blau and Rosé and other decks, so I've been playing my Blau deck a lot, so I should probably get back and get used to Overlord again. But playing Overlord is like riding a bike for me. It always feels good whenever I pick up my Overlord deck. It's so weird, even if I don't play it for a while because I'm playing Blau or something else at my locals. But yeah, I probably should get back on that bike and get used to playing Overlord again. But yeah, it's Weiss is just good. Like, I think I wouldn't recommend it as someone's first card game. Like, I definitely would not recommend Weiss as someone's first card game, especially if they're young. I think Pokemon is probably still better if you're trying to get like your kid into Pokemon, like getting your kid into TCGs. I definitely would not recommend Weiss as like your niece's first card game, whatever. I would definitely think Pokemon is probably better just because of the tournament structure with them being juniors, seniors, and masters. I feel like in those terms, I think I would still recommend Pokemon as someone's first TCG. But if they're slightly older, if they're like maybe like 15, 16, I think Weiss is a pretty good game like to introduce them to. Accessibility too. because like anime nowadays is becoming more mainstream and popular and stuff like that. So if Bushi released like a popular IP as part of Weiss, I can definitely see a lot of younger people getting into Weiss. Like, what was it? How many people picked up I know a lot of people picked up what's it called? A lot of people picked up Weiss because of Hololive and stuff like that. And I know some people picked up Weiss because of Gurren Lagann. So like if Bushi brings some like really good titles, then I can definitely see more people playing Weiss. And like it'd be great because I want to beat Vanguard in numbers. Like I want one day there to be more Weiss players at our regionals than Vanguard. Not saying I want Vanguard players in my game though, because I do not have good experience with Vanguard players, but I want more people playing Weiss. I want there to be equal or more Weiss players than Vanguard players at a tournament. I know that's like never going to happen, but like, oh yeah, Azure Lane as well. Oh, Nikkei too. A lot of people picked up, I know 2 people who are Vanguard players that ended up picking up playsets of Nikkei. Specifically, no, 3. I know 3. I know 3 people who ended up picking up playsets of Nikkei just because they like Nikkei, but they're Vanguard players. So as long as Bushi brings in good IPs, I think we can get more players. Like, Weiss has grown a lot over the years. Because I'm thinking about it, like, back in 2007, when, like, I attended my first regionals, like, compared to how many people now are showing up for, like, at the big states, like, in, like, Texas and Cali and stuff like that, there's so many more players than, like, what used to be. And, like, it's great. And maybe one day we'll beat Vanguard in number of players. Because I don't think that's ever gonna happen. I don't think that's ever gonna happen. But, like, I think Bushi... I'm really glad that Bushiroad brought Weiss over to English. Because if they didn't have to, if you think about it. Especially with the IP and licensing issues. Like, Bushi didn't have to bring Weiss Schwarz over. I mean, if you look at it, Rebirth only exists in JP, which is another Bushiroad card game. But like, they didn't have to bring Weiss Schwarz over. Like, it's probably not the easiest card game to bring over to English-speaking audiences with like the IP, like having to get copyright and IP and all that stuff. But I am really glad that they brought the game over to America, and like, I hope to see more people play. Like, I hope more people like just play the game in general. It's a little nerve-wracking though at big events when you're like, oh, it's my first regionals, and you're playing. It's my first regionals, and it's a level 3. That's the one thing that I think will be a little difficult for people, because if it's their first ever time playing Weiss Schwarz, attending a Weiss Schwarz regionals, and it's level 3. Weird time for Weiss because a lot of other card games are not. Yeah, I know, Union Arena and other stuff. I think the only thing that might turn off players is BCF and Springfest because they're level 3 tournaments, and I think new players will be put off by the fact that the rules are so strict at level 3. For players who've been playing Weiss for a long time, I don't think it's too much of an issue. I don't think it's an issue because we've slowly adapted to it. Because, you know, regionals used to be level 2 and now it's level 3. We've slowly adapted to it. But I think the fact that regionals is now level 3 and there's no prerequisite to enter, I think that will be kind of scary for a lot of new players getting into the game. Because like maybe they're just chill and just play at their locals and whatever, but then going to regionals and it being level 3 and the rules being stricter and like a big jump actually when it comes to like punishments and stuff for like things, I feel like that might turn away some players. But besides that, I think Weiss is a good game just to get into if you're in like the 15, 16 like age. Bushi just needs good IPs, which might be a little issue now that we're fighting with other companies and stuff. Team League is great, yeah. Teams is so fun. Teams is so much fun. That's the great thing about teams. Teams, I don't know how many card games have teams. I don't know if Pokemon or Magic have teams. I know Magic has like, what's it called? Magic has, what's it called? Commander? But like, Commander is 4 people, but like, it's not the same as teams. But yeah, I think regionals is scary, is gonna be like, is kind of scary for new players. From my perspective, as I said, I'm used to it, but imagining if I were a new player going to regionals and then just getting a game loss because of something I did by accident that I'm not used to and I didn't know about it, I feel like that's a little bit iffy. But like, they'll slowly get used to it over time. And teams is a thing. Teams is always fun. But yeah, I've been yapping for so long. I should probably go get some food and get ready for work tomorrow at my locals tomorrow. I wanted to actually push the stream back to a little while later. But I do have a I do have a semi little announcement to make. I was told I could say it, but I want to hold off until I get like stuff. But if anybody has been keeping up with Bushiroad news, I got an email last week. I got an email last week on Monday, and I was in such shock that I didn't stream last week, and it's still kind of hard to. Part of me still doesn't believe it. But I got an email last Monday. If you have been keeping with Bushiroad news, you might know what I'm referring to. I'm probably gonna make an official announcement about it once I get my merchandise in. So let me see if I can find it. Okay, I can't find it. But normally when I go to Bushiroad events, I bring a bunch of pins with me. I bring a bunch of pins with me to give away to people who challenge me to a game. And because of the email I got on Monday, I decided it was time for me to get some new merchandise. So this is good news. I'm not gonna say what it is. I was told I could, but I'm gonna wait, make a post with all my brand new merchandise. But on my Twitter, maybe in the next few weeks or so, there'll be an announcement along with pictures of the new merchandise that I'll be giving out when I attend Bushiroad events. And yeah, I'm getting new merchandise made in celebration. And because this is kind of crazy thinking about it, but yeah, there will be. I don't have it yet, so I can't show it to you guys. I was gonna wait to say something, and I am technically waiting because I'm not telling you guys exactly what happened. But yeah, something happened. There's gonna be a celebration. There's gonna be to celebrate. I'm releasing new merch. Okay, that's it. Okay, that's it. I something awesome came in the mail last Monday, and to celebrate, I'm releasing new merch. And I don't have the pictures yet, but I wanted to push this stream until I got the pictures of my merch, but I didn't get them yet, so that's why I'm holding off on the official announcement. But yeah, something good happened. I'll make a post when I get the new merch in. But yeah, new merchandise if you attend Bushiroad events and play me in Weiss Schwarz. So I don't have them yet, but I will be getting some new pins made to celebrate and stuff. But yeah, Thank you guys for stopping by. Maybe I'll do another stream talking about Weiss Schwarz Blau because holy, that's a whole other can of worms I'm gonna have to deal with. But yeah, thank you so much for the congrats. If you guys know, then you guys know. And I was told I can talk about it, but I want to actually talk about it once I get the new merchant. So yeah. I'm holding off until I get the new merchant to say exactly what it is. But if you know, you know. And yeah, it's very, very exciting. Please give Weiss Schwarz a try. I did this entire stream because I want people to see how cool the game is and stuff. I don't know what I'm doing next week. Maybe I'll do another Weiss Schwarz stream. I'll talk about Blau and all the weird cards in there. I don't know. Or maybe I'll do some other thing. I have no idea. I have no idea. But yeah, I'll see you guys around. Get some dinner. Get some lunch or whatever. Get whatever you need done because I've been yapping for so long. And if you guys are rolling any gacha, I wish you guys the best of luck, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!